And guys, we're here at what's going to be our newest location, the channel side location. We're here with a contractor as well. He's at Tribeca.
Tribeca Contracting.
Let's go. If you guys need a good contractor and you're in Florida, the guy right there. What I wanted to do was catch up with where we're at. I'm pretty much always hands off this phase.
If you guys want to scale your business, you got to do that. You got to delegate, right?
Yeah, so I think we start from the beginning. Like, first off, we didn't find this the conventional route that we usually do, right? We usually find it through a broker or through LoopNet, something like that.
I was kind of upset that we weren't finding anything in the downtown area. And I just parked my car one day because we were having these text message conversations and started walking around the area. And there was this big, massive sign that says retail for lease. Like a perfect spot. Like, wow.
You're just walking, you just turn the,
yeah, like 5 minutes into the search, I'm like, why haven't we looked at this space? And I walked into the building, talked to the manager, and the manager was like, we are about to give it to a broker. Spoke with them for 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, it's yours. Yeah.
This one was interesting in that this specific unit had sat empty for a while.
Yeah, going back to the introduction to the person who's renting, the initial conversation with them matters. Their first impression of who they're renting to. A lot of these barbers will show up, and I know you guys in the mentorship program aren't these guys, but they'll walk in smelling like weed with their pants halfway down their butt and, talking about how much is rent.
Yeah.
That's not what happened, right? The reason this guy said 5 minutes into it, I want you to be the tenant of that location, is because I didn't walk in asking any of that stuff. I walked in asking the stuff that the mentorship program teaches you to ask. I didn't ask them what the rent is. I asked them what the price per square foot was, the triple nets were, what the square footage was. I asked them the utilities included, not included, and what are their requirements? Do they think we're a good fit for them? We're not a typical barbershop or a barbershop with 10 locations.
Yeah.
That first impression matters. That's how we got this spot.
Barbers have this misconception where they think if something's sitting empty, the landlord must be desperate to fill it. You don't have leverage just because it's been sitting empty. The guy who owns this unit owns probably another 150,000 square feet of.
Well, this unit is owned by the guy who owns this building. The guy who owns this building owns 3 other buildings in Miami that are very similar to it. He does not care about the $2,500 in rent here.
He doesn't even notice it.
So what they want is a good fit rather than a tenant.
That's major. I had that misconception when I was first starting out as well. I thought I had all the leverage, not realizing that's where a lot of times where Guppy's in a huge pond, right?
Yeah. So then, this location was interesting because it's not a first generation location, which means we're not the first tenant here, but this is the current condition of it. You can see that there's no drywall on the walls. It's an unfinished location. They had rented the location out to another tenant who started building it and then never finished. They had to evict them, and then they had to close out their permits because they had their permits. They put in an air conditioner, they put in a vacuum, they did some plumbing work, they did some electrical work, and then disappeared and stopped paying. So they had to get it. And then it sat empty for a couple of years. And like I said, I happened to show up right before they gave it to a broker. So that's an interesting location. The layout of this location is not something you would normally do. This is almost a square.
Guys. You guys know we're big on layout. Square footage is not enough, guys. Like, this is a square, which is pretty much the opposite of what we like. We usually like this rectangle, right here, this space, go deep as possible. Deal, right? You got a square. The deal was good enough. Yeah, we're like, let's work out of it. And because of the location, we know we can charge more. So we can make 8 chairs work, where you guys know we like to do more if possible.
But the other thing is barbers typically look at, they're like, okay, man, it's just rent is so expensive. It's $3,000, $4,000 a month. We want expensive rent. We will not go into somewhere where rent's $1,500. The demographics there just don't make any sense. So I'm going to bring up the layout and stuff of the architects. So, next step is we agree to it. We get a little bit of a verbal agreement that we're going to work together to come up with something. We send them a letter of intent. And it's a letter of intent. Doesn't have to be, professionally written and stuff. I, Daniel Santana, owner of Headlines Barbers. At this point, they don't even know Bosio exists. Probably it doesn't matter. The semantics don't matter. The details don't matter. What matters is I'm ready, willing, and able to negotiate a lease at $20 a square foot plus an expected $8 in triple net. If this works for you, let's get going. In there, I put things like, things they don't expect. It's $2,500 a month. We have personal financial statements that we have to give the banks on a regular basis. If we want to get $2 or $3 million in loans, if we want to buy a yacht, a lot of times when we're moving real amounts of money, banks want to see what's called a personal financial statement. And on the personal financial statement, you have to put all your liabilities, which include all your personal guarantees. On a location like this, you're going to have to put a personal guarantee. And we don't want to keep doing that. Aldo and I have tried to remove ourselves from personal guarantees as much as possible. So what I did was I told them I'll give you 6 months deposit as a personal guarantee. After 2 years of good positive payment history and no defaults on the contract, I get 3 months of credit. I get half of that back in rent credit to be used in future rent payments.
Yeah.
So, 3 months deposit instead of 6 months deposit. And that tells them a couple of things. One, it tells them I'm not worried about $18,000. So gives them a little level of comfort. I explained to them why I don't want the personal guarantee.
And don't forget this part too, guys, because a lot of times we don't think long term. We don't think 3 to 5 years ahead. Remember, Danny said earlier, these guys own 3 other buildings just like this. And chances are in 3 to 5 years, they'll own more. We want to nurture those relationships because all of a sudden that can be leveraged to 3 or 4 more locations with zero personal guarantee because we've already built that relationship. This is our foot in the door with them, right?
Yeah, and that's key. This is the drawings that the architect ends up sending us, which is their depiction of the layouts, right? Now, this architect has already given us quite a bit of work, and he's done quite a few for us, and he has to work with what's already in here. There's a couple of things. These columns, for example, they're not ideal, but I can't remove them. They're holding up the building. The site visit with the general contractor came, and he's saying, what if we remove this waiting area, put it down here, and then put these chairs up here because of the way these walls work? This rail here is actually a ramp that goes up for ADA compliance because there's a step at the door here. So this ramp goes up, which means there's a little ledge here. This wall has to stay waist high. And from here, this way, we can remove the wall, but then you've got these columns here. And then let's go ahead and make this the waiting area, and we'll just wrap around here. So now the general contractor, we buy our time back by paying the general contractor. He understands what we want from a practical perspective. He goes to the architects, gets all the MEP drawings, the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing updated. Once he gets the MEP drawings finalized and approved, he goes off. Hopefully by the end of the month of December, he'll go off.
So for my guys who are in location 1, do they need to start with an architect?
It depends. If you're first generation, yes, because you don't know what you're doing. It's even worse. You don't know what the best, you think you know what the best spacing per chair is, but how many times have we gone back and remodeled a location and added a chair or 2?
Yeah, and it costs us a lot more because we didn't do it in the beginning, right?
A lot more. Or if you get a location that's called a vanilla shell, it's there. All you got to do is add light, put some floor, and hang your stations. That's different. You're not going to go spend the money. You're probably not even paying an actual person to do anything.
While negotiating the lease, working with the architect, working with the GC to get some plans in here. And how'd that happen? Since we don't have a lease signed, we don't have a key.
Yeah, having conversations with the property manager, right, and getting access to it. In the past, sometimes there's a key on the door, and depending on how intelligent you sound talking to them, if you understand what you're talking about, if you pay attention to the sheet provided in the mentorship where you understand the square footage, you didn't go back and ask what the out the door price was, or maybe while you're talking to them, a lot of times what I do is I'll be on the sheet, punch it in real quick, and by the time I punch it in, that's in the triple nets, the sheet just spits out the monthly after taxes and stuff. And let's say it's $2,300, I'd be like, all right, so somewhere between $2,300, $2,500 out the door. And because I spit that out immediately and they know what it is out the door and they didn't give me the out the door, they automatically think, okay, this guy at least knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, guys. If you had to deal with a customer, you had to teach every step of the way, or you have one that's ready to go,
yeah,
who are you gonna be more inclined to work with?
I asked a lot of intrusive questions, so I got the full story. So I know that they lost some money. I know they went after. I know that the guys didn't put a big enough deposit. I know those things. So now that's their pain. So the letter of intent for this location addressed their pain. Now, if you're going for a normal shop on a normal location and it's, fairly low end and stuff, you got to go through all that? No. But yeah, I want to know the history. I want to know how long it was empty for. I want to know, does the landlord have multiple ones? Has a broker worked with other barbershops? What's been his experience? Because when they give you the experience, they're not giving you all the positive ones. They're going to give you all the negative ones. Yeah. And then in my letter of intent, I'm going to address all those experiences for him and tell him the things that propose the things that put those concerns at rest.
I love that. Lease comes in, attorney looks over it, finds that shit. We go, show it.
They took forever on their side.
You don't have to stay stagnant. That's another thing, right? Like
parallel.
You can run in parallel. I mean, some of you guys probably don't have the storage, but Danny will order the chairs, the mirrors, all that stuff.
All that's already at the warehouse.
It's already at the warehouse. So you can be proactive during the wait.
So these came back, we signed it, but I knew we had Thanksgiving. So these came back ready for signature early November. And I knew my finalized drawings weren't ready. I knew we had Thanksgiving. And I was like, there's no way any of this is going to get done on time. So December 2nd, today's December 6th, I think.
Yeah.
So December 2nd, we took possession, and then we didn't do anything until today with it. So I think we took possession Monday. Yesterday, we had the keys done. Usually we have the locksmith do it on the day of. So I usually call the locksmith and have him do it. We have a master key. Our locksmith already knows our key or whatever. So he just makes us a new key and then make sure our master works. And then he'll leave us 10 copies of the key. We make the build copies, and then we use our masters to, our trade usually has, Tim got his master today, but like our air conditioning guy has his, 2 or 3 maintenance guys have a master key. So if we call one and they're unavailable, we call the next one, and they'll go in the middle of the night to fix whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Emergency wise. So keys first, and then start the build up.
Yeah. So now we can also be proactive on the whole marketing thing. So we can look at barbershop launch SOP and start doing some of the things like claiming the Google business location, coming soon signs, things of that nature that we do before we launch. How long do you think this build out's gonna?
So I can't say this. Now the general contractor's here, so I have to say this will be done by January, right? In reality, if we're done by end of March, if we're open for business sometime in March, that'd be great.
Yeah. And guys, throughout the process, I'll stop in different phases and see how the work is getting done. That way you guys get some exposure to that. How do you identify a good contractor? Like, how do you find them and know you're working with somebody that's missing? Because we've been burned in the past.
Tim, cover your ears. GCs suck. That's why when you find GCs that are good, you stick with them. Tim and his wife own the company. It's just them two. They are building their business, and they do want to scale it and stuff, but it's just them two. It's not like the architect our architect has people in the office. So I can't even yell at the architect. He's not the one who did the drawing. He sent it to another guy. So we played telephone. I told him what I wanted. He told his that we wanted, and there was a disconnect. Now we got to go fix it. That's a pain. That's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Then you can't do anything about it. Same thing with GCs. When you go to the big GC companies, you're tiny. You one tiny job. You might be a $50,000 to $150,000 job for them on a large company that doesn't notice that money. Yeah. Whereas going to a mom and pop shop, they're looking at you as a potential reference. They're looking at you as a potential future client that's gonna open additional shops and stuff like that. One of the things I like is working with local businesses. We're local business and local, relatively small businesses. If I was building this building,
yeah,
I would probably still use Tim if I was building this building. He's your license to build this building and the stadium if you wanted to. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a serious license. You got any interesting insight, Tim, on how to find a good contractor?
Experience speaks volumes. My experience is 24 years in construction, 12 years in commercial management specifically. So experience is a key factor. So when you're speaking to a GC, talk to the person repping the GC. What is their experience? Have they done projects of this nature? Have they worked in the area that you're trying to work in? So this is downtown Tampa. I've worked in downtown New York City. This is nothing. This is easy.
Wow. Yeah.
Experience is a big factor when choosing your contractor references. Speak to past clients. Ask them to provide a recent client that they worked with. Give the person a call. They may not want to talk to you, but if they will, they have good things to say. You'll find the right guy. If they don't want to talk to you or don't want to talk about that GC because they had a bad experience, that speaks volumes.
So if they're in Tampa or Central Florida, or how would they get in contact with you if they want to work with you?
They can call my office. It's 813-217-5354. You can also reach us online at tribecacontracting.com.
I'll put all the details below, guys, too, so you guys can
I
reach out
appreciate
to them.
that.
Yeah.
And I can also provide an email address.
Yeah, guys. So this is, what would you consider this, phase one?
At the beginning, we're still at the beginning.
We're in the beginning.
Yeah, we're at the beginning. We're almost at the point where we get to hand it off. I probably need to go do a quick inventory. We decided we're going to do lighting in here slightly different than we normally do.
Yeah.
So we got to find some lighting fixtures, but then we just order everything and send it off. We've already got, like I said, the majority of it is already at the warehouse.
And guys, you guys know we have our foundation. We know exactly how we like our shops. We know exactly the distance between stations, the type of lighting. We have an Amazon list with links to everything we need to order before we open the doors. But sometimes you got to be able to adjust. And this is a location, that type of location we haven't done yet in the downtown area. There's no parking. Construction's weird. We have 2 parking permits.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's different.
This location is going to bank. It is going to bank. So this is a high income location, which means you might as well live in downtown, ride your bike to
I
work.
think the household income here is 150K, guys. Like, it's serious here.
Yeah. I mean, all these apartments are $4,000 or $5,000 a month, right?
Yeah. Anything that's 3 bedroom is going to be $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
oh, this is our 12th. We closed 2, Gibsonton and St. Pete.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So this is
number 10.
10 that's actively open, number
Yeah.
12 as far as experience.
Yeah.
And we have 2 more leases in place
Yeah.
for 25. So
Already, yeah.
this will open in 25. We will likely open, one of them is a new building build. So it might get delayed or not. It could open 25, but we have 3 scheduled for 2025.
We're also playing with the idea of still doing Dallas as well, opening that market.
We will. There's the reason we stopped it is because we had quite a few other projects going on. Q1 of 25, you guys are going to see some of the crazy stuff that we're doing. So when we say, hey, we've got a new partner shop in Dallas. If you're in Dallas, let's say that you're in Prosper, just north of Dallas, right? You're in Prosper and you want to work at an equivalent of a Headlines. You want to work at one of our shops. This is one of our licensed shops. It's powered by Tune 45. It is our processes. It is our culture. It is what you learned in the mentorship program. Come, go there. That's one of the reasons we've been building up those databases of people. So yeah, let me know what you think. Get back to Bazio. Let them know if you guys like that plan. This barbershop in the middle of nowhere signed an agreement with us 3 months ago. Where did we take your business in those 3 months? If we can show growth, we can explode that portion of the business.
Yeah. Love it. Let us know what you guys think in the comments, man. Thanks.